With only 2 weeks left in the legislative session, Republican State Senators Tim Neville and John Cooke plan on introducing a bill that would address Colorado's road repairs. Unlike the much-debated House Bill 1242 that died on Tuesday, this measure would use existing sales tax revenue to fund highway widening, safety improvements, and expanding capacity on various Colorado roads. Joey, you're our man at the Capitol. Where's this bill headed?
Down the tubes. This has no chance. You know, they've been negotiating this bill. The best they can hope for is to force Democrats to the negotiating table. You know, this bill has been in negotiation for 8 months. And then it passed in the House. The House Democrats were able to hold their coalition together and pass it, but with a tax increase. The Senate Transportation Committee lowered the tax increase, but then some members of the Senate Finance Committee said it wasn't enough. We want no tax increase. And that's well and good. But where were they 8 months ago? Where have they been for the past 8 months to get this as part of the conversation? You know, now we've got less than 2 weeks left in the session. I don't give them much chance. You know, what the Tim Neville and John Cooke are proposing is all the money come from the existing state budget, and that's a non-starter for House Democrats. So I don't know where they can possibly go from here. But as you're sitting in traffic jams for the next year, think about who you're going to vote for in 2018, because there are going to be millions of Coloradans doing just that.
But I think Joey brings up a good point, because I share his cynicism that is in 10 days is not at least likely to pass. Miracles happen, but not all the time. Everybody wants better roads in Colorado. They want it not just in Denver. They want to see it improved in Pueblo, in Greeley, and all over the state. But we can't really agree on how to do it, and nor can our elected leaders. It just ends up being gridlock. At what point do the people who are involved in that gridlock pay that price?
Well, I mean, maybe their wheels will fall off when they're running into all these giant potholes that keep seeming to be getting worse. You know, it strikes me that it's possible that Tim Neville and John Cooke don't actually want to improve our roads, and that maybe some of the folks on the budget committee don't want to either. I think the last bill, you know, all of this stuff, whether it's transportation, education, healthcare, or what have you, requires some compromise. I think as long as Senate Republicans are unwilling to move an inch, you can fairly characterize their position as not just entrenched, but as frankly disinterested. So I don't see a near-term horizon for solving this unless Republicans are willing to spend a little money and raise some revenue.
Michael, if this bill doesn't get out of the legislature to Governor Hickenlooper's desk and he doesn't sign it, it's very likely we'll see a very similar proposal on the ballot. The Independence Institute has a ballot proposal that looks a lot like this bill. I don't think it's that unrelated that there's a connection there. If this doesn't get out of the legislature, do you think Coloradans will still have the opportunity to decide on this particular way to handle the issue?
I think they could. I mean, obviously it depends on what the Independence Institute, you know, if they move forward or not. It also depends on if the contractors move forward with their sales tax hike on the ballot too. You know, they got to get a lot of signatures. They have to go out and you know, do a lot of work in order to get it there. But I think, you know, this bill shows that Republicans are working on this issue, that they do care about this issue, and really it falls in line with what Coloradans outside of the Capitol actually think. The only recent public polling that we saw on this showed that 70% of Coloradans wanted to fix the roads. I don't know what the other 30% are doing, but you know, that same poll showed that 57% didn't want a tax increase. And so really that's saying they want legislators to go to the budget that they have, $28.5 billion. It's gone up $1.5 billion over last year. And really the legislature only spends 5% of the budget on transportation. And so this is a bill that forces that discussion. While it doesn't have a good shot of passing for the reasons that you all said, at least it keeps the discussion going, and it keeps the focus on transportation.
Patty, do Coloradans of all stripes need more pain before we'll think about paying more for roads?
Well, we're going to get more pain. The only thing that makes the traffic on I-70 and I-25 at rush hour look good is the traffic jam of legislation that is now hitting the legislature with 8 more days to go. I mean, the budget is going up for a vote on Monday. It's supposed to be approved on Monday. Here's this Hail Mary move. I don't think it's going anywhere, but neither are we when we get on the highway. So Joey actually has a good idea. We could sell anti-legislator bumper stickers, the people who haven't been able to get off the dime on this and come up with a solution. Put it on the bumper of the car ahead of you, car behind you, and get some good campaigning done over the next year when you're stuck in traffic.
like to see out of all the different Colorado license plates I have, the one that the legislators get saying that I haven't fixed roads yet. Kind of, that's a nice addition.